guest is full of enthusiasm and excitement for encouraging and empowering others. She's a sought-after keynote speaker, parenting consultant, host of the Fierce and Flourish podcast, and a thought leader in the youth confidence space. Please welcome my good friend, Erin. Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Jillian?
I'm good. Thanks so much for stopping by. I know you're a very busy lady, but I'm excited that you're here.
This is interrupting my mid-afternoon nap, so.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell me about your business. I mean, what you do is so amazing. And I know, as cheeseball as it sounds, you're changing the world, girl. Like, you are inspiring so many people. Like, what experience inspired you to start this business?
The experience of being a tween girl myself and a teen girl myself.
We've both been there.
Yes, all that entails. We've all been there. Coupled with having my own 3 daughters who are now 6, almost 11 as of next week, and 13, and wanting to make sure that they were raised to be fierce, empowered, problem-solving, world-changing individuals. And then the educator in me was like, well, can't just do that for my girls. I need to do that for every girl I possibly can. So that's where it all started.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I think that you are such a resource to people. So tell me a little bit more about how you formed the business. Like, what do you do for these teen and tween girls?
The biggest thing that I do for them is I get to be a cheerleader in their corner. I get to be someone that's not related to them, that will listen without judgment, that will help them problem solve and make better decisions, that will do kind of the triage afterwards if they didn't make the best decisions, again, without judgment. And that is really the foundation of what I do. Along with that, I get to teach them habits and attitudes that will help them to be successful in life. And it all starts with that relationship. So really, it's having that relationship, being that cheerleader, being a consistent presence and a positive influence in their life. And I do that through one-on-one mentoring. I do that through group programs, membership, all sorts. If you can name a modality of how you might work with young people, I probably have done it or do it or will be doing it soon in the future.
I love that constant evolution because there's so much happening all the time. It's like you're always changing. You have to, right?
Always changing to figure out what's going to work best, both for me and my family, because I'm teaching the girls how to choose their thoughts to create a life they love. So I am in the process of continually working to create a life I love as a good example for them, and showing them that just because you did something one way one time doesn't mean you have to do it exactly the same way the next time. What works well for my customers, what works well for me. Let's work together, make it the best that it can be for the maximum impact.
Oh my gosh. And so because you're such an influential like resource and mentor to these girls, who is your mentor?
Oh my goodness. I have a cloud of mentors. I have so many people speaking truth into my life. And it really started when I, in college, went to my first leadership conference. I had never really been to a conference before. And one of my mentors was like, hey, we're all going to go to this conference. It was like all adult, middle-aged people. And they're like, we think you should come. I'm like, great. I'm like, I don't know, college sophomore maybe at the time. I was like, you're paying, I get to stay in a hotel and eat for free. Yes, let's do it. So I was in for like the experience, right? But then I heard from John Maxwell and all of these amazing Patrick Lencioni, influential writers and speakers of their time that were talking about personal development, talking about leadership, talking about building a team and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this stuff's amazing. And I was hooked. And so a lot of my mentors are people I listen to on podcasts, people I've read their books. And then I seek out coaches like Rory Vaden, like my friend Sean Quintero, who also read those things, learn about those things, absorb those things, even are sometimes friends with these people that I've read and listened to, and learn from them and how that iteration of what they're learning has looked like in their lives. And then surround myself with other people like you, Jillian, who are building businesses, who are entrepreneurs, who are inspiring, who are doing the work. You can't do it alone. You have to have all these people surrounding you. And I constantly am asking people to speak into my life, whether they know it or not.
It definitely takes a village for sure. I mean, it's just the amazing. We're in such a time, in such an era of like information that you could literally find out how to do anything on the internet, but it's getting that human connection between people and like helping each other, like, because we things have happened before, you know what I mean, and saying, hey,
Nothing new under the sun.
yeah, for sure. And you're like, I'm facing this challenge right now. Like, what was your experience with it? How could you help me? You know, just reaching out to people and getting their responses is huge. It's just, I mean, it can definitely change your business when you're open to being open to asking people and receiving as well.
Absolutely. And that's why I love like the mastermind aspect of so many of the programs nowadays. It's not just a video course. Video courses are great, but information does nothing without application. And I'm the type of person that likes to apply alongside other people and likes to brainstorm alongside other people and likes to learn from other people's experiences. So absolutely. I love my books and my podcasts, but I will only apply maybe 10% of that on my own without talking with other people about it, workshopping with other people, brainstorming through it with colleagues.
Well, and I'm so glad that you brought up the personal development, because I feel like there's so many people that can get sucked into the learning aspect but not applying aspect. And so, what would be your advice to a small business owner that's like getting stuck in their self doubt? You know, they're growing their business, they know it could be better, it's not at its full potential. What's the best way that you think people can help, you know, to get over that?
Finding your networking group or your mastermind group or your people. We are an average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And you can apply that in lots of different ways in your life. But when you're talking as an entrepreneur who's trying to scale your business, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to make sure that you are aspiring to who else is doing something that I want to do? How can I run in their circle? How can I learn from them? How can I be held accountable by them? And I think that accountability piece is what we miss in a lot of groups. We're like, oh, we have all these great ideas. It's amazing. But who's saying, okay, did you show up and do the work this week? We learned about it, but what did you do? And I think that's a real key, is finding people that you can connect with and make sure that you're holding one another accountable to moving forward.
Well, I think it's so important because when you have those groups of people, you can celebrate your wins, you can, you know, talk through your challenges. What do you think is your biggest win in your business?
You know, I am the type, I'm an Enneagram 3. And so I win and I move on. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? I would say my biggest win really usually comes back to my clients when they have wins. And so when there was one weekend, I probably got 7 different text messages from teen and tween girls that were saying, hey, I got into the school that I applied to, or, oh, I actually did great on that test that I was so worried about, or I had this conversation with my mom, or the mom texting me and said, the daughter had this conversation with me and it went really well. Thank you so much for helping her to have the bravery to have that conversation. So those are the times that explode my heart. And those are the times that I really feel like celebrating financially, being able to quit my job, you know, having all of the resources I need, building up my income, those types of things all feel very businessy wins. Yeah. But to me, the wins that explode my heart are when I know that I'm having an impact and that the relationship that I'm building with these girls is really making a difference in their day-to-day lives.
Well, and it's affecting their lives in such an amazing way. Like that they have that resource within you. What do you think is a way that business owners could grow their confidence in what they're doing and get their fierceness back? Because I feel like a lot of business owners that I talk to are kind of like in a slump. They're kind of like, whoo, I'm exhausted. What's the best way for them to get their fierceness back?
Well, first and foremost, they should probably take a nap. I'm not kidding.
Rest for sure.
If they're not getting at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, that is step number 1. But that's literally that is an entire month of my curriculum with my girls is sleep habits. But that aside, returning to our why. Why do we start this business? Why do we want to do this business? What's our purpose? Whether it's a completely personal why, or it's a world impact why, or it's somewhere in between, or it's both and. Finding ways to reconnect to that why is the only thing that can keep you going in entrepreneurship, I think.
Especially when it gets hard. And if it's not hard right now, it's gonna get hard. So knowing what your plan is when things do get hard, I think can pull you back that much faster.
Yeah, having those almost rituals or traditions of when X happens, this is what I do. When Y happens, this is what I do. And building those into the ecosystem of what your business looks like. Yeah.
It's like that app, like if this, then that. It's
Mhm.
kind of like that, except you're doing it for yourself of like when this thing happens, because it probably will, what am I going to do? How am I going to respond to that? How am I going to react to that? What does that look like? I think when you have a plan in place, things don't derail you as much or even at all because you're like, ah, I got this, no big deal.
Yeah. And a lot of that is surrounding yourself with people who remind you what your if then statement is. So this is what happened. What did you decide in advance you were going to do when that happened? And this is what I do with the girls too.
Yeah.
We role play worst case scenario, when you ask someone out and they say no, or when you get an F on the test and you're afraid to tell your parents, or when you don't get the lead in the school play, what was your plan ahead of time? Let's plan in advance. But it can also work the other way. When you do get the lead, when you get an A on the test, when you do this, what's your plan to celebrate? What's your plan to make sure that you take pause and are mindful and are experiencing the joy that comes with building this business or being a teenage girl?
I love that. I love that you're looking at both sides of it too, because I think not just whether you're a girl or a business owner or just a regular old person, I think a lot of times we tend to just focus on the negative, but really we need to shift that perspective and be like, but what if it works? What if it's amazing? What if I get it? I think that we forget that part.
Yeah, it's so true. It's all of us do.
Yeah. Now, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a small business owner? This is a question that I ask all my podcast guests, and it's so interesting. So I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
It comes back to what we've literally been saying this entire time, surrounding yourself with people who build you up, who challenge you, who hold you accountable. This is the advice that I would give anyone, whether they're a small business owner or not, but you have to choose your community wisely. And I was just reading a book and they're talking about doing a friendship audit. And it's the same kind of thing. Like, who are the people who make you feel great about your business? Who are the people that will tell you the truth about your business? Who are the people that will be alongside you? Who are your aspirational partners? Who are the people you're bringing up as well? Who are you encouraging? Who are you mentoring? So surrounding yourself with that group is vital because most people don't understand entrepreneurship. If they are not doing it, they don't get it. And you
think we're crazy, which we kind of are.
We are. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to be a little crazy to do this. Yes. I totally endorse that thought process or that philosophy. But you pick your times. Your friends that you're going to just go hang out with and listen to a band with and eat a meal with are not necessarily going to be your entrepreneurship friends that you're going to go to for business advice or, celebrate your big wins, because my friends don't get my big wins. It doesn't make sense to them because they're not in this world. That's okay. That doesn't mean I need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It just means I need to make sure that I also have my entrepreneurial friends that I've surrounded myself with to go on this journey.
I think that's so important because you're right. I mean, everybody talks about your circle and it's like, you're absolutely right. You can still keep those people in your life, but maybe they don't talk about this entrepreneurial journey because it's not their fault. They just don't get it. It's definitely its own thing. So tell me where people can find out how to work with you. If they have a teen or tween girl, like what's the best way to get in touch with you? Because I think that what you're doing could help so many more people. And I know that you are crazy busy and you are building and there's so many people that are on your wait list, but tell us where people can find out more about you.
Yes, my website, www.erintarr.com, ERINTARR, erintarr.com. There you can find the link to my blog, my socials, literally everything. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm always happy to offer a free call to a mom or a girl who's interested in potentially working with me. I love to pour into people. And even if after talking, they're like, this isn't the right time or it's not the right fit for me, I just adore talking to parents and girls and just, really encouraging them on their journey.
Well, and even being open to just having that first conversation you might even be able to help someone with just that conversation. So I think it's so cool that you're doing that. And I'll be sure to have all your links in the show notes too, so people have an easy access to that and can just click and find out more about you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you stopping by to share this amazing work that you're doing with us.
Thank you, Jillian, for having this, for hosting this, for being so enthusiastic and so supportive of all of the things in everyone's lives, because your enthusiasm just brings a new energy to everything small business. And knowing that you have a positive bent on it and that you want to encourage others is so amazing and so helpful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. That's so sweet of you. So, like I said, everyone, make sure that you check out Erin Tarr. She's amazing. You're going to love her, especially if you have a teen or tween girl. You definitely have to check her out.